From Charlottetown, it's the NBL Canada Playoffs on 5 TV1 this evening. It is Game 4 of the Atlantic Division Final as the Island Storm play host to the Halifax Hurricanes. The Storm, they lead this series 2-1. How you doing, everybody? I'm Peter Ruckgazer alongside Gord McNeely. Glad you can join us here this evening. Gord, I had a chance to talk to head coach Joe Salerno before tonight's game, and he said he was happy with the way his team shot the ball, but the one thing that really stood out for him, the presence of his team around the rim defensively.
Yeah, they got more rebounds. They were in the game. Listen, that's been a huge key all year for this team. If they can rebound and defend and stop penetration, they're a great basketball team. They really caused Halifax to make a lot of mistakes, took advantage, and started their fast break.
I talked to Mike Leslie, the head coach of Halifax. He was very disappointed with the way his team played in Game 3. They watched the video of Game 3. He counted 25 mistakes defensively. What type of adjustments does Halifax have to make here? Once again, they're going to be without C.J. Washington.
Well, they have to play with desperation today. They cannot go back to Halifax down 3-1. This is a huge game for them. They've got to come out and play like they did in the regular season, play like they're champions, and really get out there, take care of everything that Mike Leslie talks about defensively. If they do that, this is a good enough team that they're going to be very competitive here.
Well, game number 4 of this Atlantic Division Final just around the corner. We're going to take a break right now. On the other side, the starting lineups and the opening tip. You're watching the NBL Canada Playoffs on 5 TV1.
Sorry.
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 Sorry. Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry. Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Hey, Mom, is it okay if Sarah comes over for dinner tonight?
Yeah, as long as it's okay with her mom.
Can she?
Yeah, of course.
Yes!
At Ronald McDonald House, we give families a home away from home, close to their sick children.
Wouldn't it be nice to have a big brother?
So what you want to do this weekend?
I want to go to the Canada Game Center. I want to go swimming on the big yellow slide, which goes outside.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Definitely do that for sure.
Yeah.
Probably go bowling too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids with mentors grow up to be more successful adults. Supporting Big Brothers Big Sisters is a great way to have a positive impact on your community. To volunteer or make a donation, go to bigbrothersbigsisters.ca.
We are moments away from getting Game 4 of the Atlantic Division Final underway. Let's now send it down to the PA announcer, Paul M. Skierman, for the starting lineups.
Okay. Mike Leslie, assistant coach Joe Wells. And now, presented by All-Star Cresting, here is your starting lineup for your From Brooklyn, New York, out of Coppin State, a 6'6" forward, number 24, Akeem Ellis. From Lakeville, Minnesota, out of Augustana University, a 6'5" forward, number 15, Al Richter. From Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, out of the University of Ottawa, a 6'4" guard, number 13, Terry Thomas. From Jacksonville, Florida, out of the University of Kentucky, a 6'9" center, number 5, A.J. Stewart. And from Mesa, Arizona, out of Arizona State University, a 5'10" point guard, number 1, Jahi Person. The head coach of the Island Storm in his 6th season is Joe Salerno. Assistant coaches Ray Vedito and Jeff Morrison. The team trainer is Mitch Rowley, and the head physiotherapist is Colin Moore.
So there you go. There's the starting lineups for tonight's game, game number 4. And Gord, Akeem Ellis trying to really jack up this crowd here in Charlottetown. Yeah. And we will see what will take place. I know Halifax weren't pleased with the way they played in game number 3. Didn't show that defensive intensity that Mike Leslie wanted. Talked about it in the opening. He counted 25 mistakes defensively. This is a veteran team. It's a deep team. I'm expecting a better performance from Halifax here this evening.
Yeah, and I think it starts with them going inside to Billy White right away. To start the game yesterday, Billy White, or a couple days ago, was on the perimeter, in the corner, and the top, and he just looked out of place. In the second half, he got into the post, and he really brought his team back. Get him in the post right away, and Ronaldo Dixon's a key for Halifax.
He shot the ball very well in that second half, didn't he?
Yeah, he's just a good player with good length and a great athlete. So they're going to need them. And listen, Clydesdale needs to come alive today. He had a double-double last game. Put it on his back, and away you go. You're on the road. Massive, massive game for the Halifax Hurricanes.
The thing that Mike Leslie said about Dixon's performance in that second half was it was great that he was knocking down threes. Regular season, he's a 40% shooter from three-point land. But nobody else was contributing. And it's kind of like fool's gold. He said that, you know, okay, we're shooting the ball, but it's just the one person shooting the ball very well. They need a contribution from everybody, and it has to start right off the hop, he said.
Yeah, and watch for Akeem. You mentioned Akeem Ellis. Watch for him. He only had 4 points last game. He needs to come alive and really get into this game and stay into this game.
So we are underway. Game 4 of the Atlantic Division Final, 2-1 for the Island Storm, looking to take a stranglehold in this series. There's Terry Thomas. He'll be a focal point of this offense here this evening. Jahi Carson coming off a 28-point game in game number 3. Ellis trying to muscle his way through.
Offensive foul. Yeah,
and
push
a little
off.
bit of a push there by Akeem.
And you can already see Halifax defense, first possession on defense, they didn't allow the Storm anywhere near the basket. So Mike Leslie has done a job with them, and it's gut check time for this team. Said keep your man out, and we'll defend together on things that we have trouble with.
Here's Dixon. He's picked up where he left off in the second half of game number 3, knocking down the tray.
Yeah, and I mean, that's trouble. That's trouble for the Storm. He shot an incredible percentage last game as well.
Drive by Jahi Carson, and he is fouled, and he'll head to the line here.
And he's making a play for one of the top players in the NBL, one of the 3 or 4 top players Jahi Carson is. And you can see it right there, the explosion going right, and he's getting to the foul line.
3rd in NBL Canada scoring this season, 22.7 points. He was the NBL Canada Newcomer of the Year in 16-17. Wow, really had a difficult game number 2. I mean, 6 points, 5 rebounds, 1 of 17 from the field,
those are not Jahid Carson numbers, and then he comes right back, redeems himself. I mean, you know Jahid Carson's not going to have 2 bad games in a row.
No.
He had 28 points in game number 3.
No, exactly.
Here's Clink Scales. Pass first, point guard. Antoine Mason, and a foul against Billy White.
Yeah, he just didn't stay stationary for the screen, wanted to get him. You have a lot of energy to start the game, so you're trying to make some things happen, and watch it right here. He just moves and catches Terry Thomas's hip.
3-1, Hurricanes in the lead early going of this first quarter. Here's Terry Thomas from the corner, no good. Nice tap there by Richter to keep the play alive. Terry Thomas drives off the window and in.
Yeah, and he scores well off of broken plays. That should really be credited to Al Richter for rebounding and keeping that ball alive.
Dixon wide open, and another 3-ball. Back-to-back threes for Ronaldo Dixon, the former New Mexico Aggie.
Yeah, and that drives coaches crazy when a guy hits 6 threes the night before and then comes out and hits his first 2. So now you're going to have a game no matter what. You got their most dynamic player shooting incredibly well from the perimeter. Offensive foul. Or was it a
I think he stepped
travel?
out there.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Down the low post now. There's Dixon showing you another facet of his game. Baseline, Tyrone Watson. Little too hard off the glass.
And they double team Dixon in the post, so we'll see if the Storm do that. They had trouble in the low block, defending low block last game, so good double team early.
Jahid Carson, Clink Scales working against him. Behind the back pass for A.J. Stewart. His shot from range is no good. This is a real nice matchup here, Carson against Clink Scales.
Oh, isn't it?
Billy White, Antoine Mason. And a little reach-in foul there against the Storm.
And the refs are trying to get control of this game. It's not out of control, but they're really calling it tight to start. So foul on AJ.
Nice move by Watson. And Tyrone Watson, who did play with Ronaldo Dixon at New Mexico State.
And that's a tough matchup for Al Richter. Watson's physical, strong, quick. So Richter's a 2-3 shooter or player.
Oh, good defensive play by White. And then Thomas got it back again. Dixon with the block. All kinds of action there on that sequence. And now Mason will take it up the court here. Here's Mason, wide open, off the rim, rebound. That was Dixon who got his mitts on that, gets it back to Clink Scales. Mason, little hook shot. Nice touch there by Antoine Mason.
Yeah, and they're focused. Halifax is focused today, and they're taking advantage of whatever the Storm's giving them. So Storm have to get back, and this is what you worry about when you're up and you're playing at home, is that are you focused enough to stay in this game early?
10-3, Halifax in the lead here. Jahid Carson. Nice pass there for Terry Thomas. And Thomas with the deuce. Got to get back on D. Antoine Mason, nice move. Good follow by Billy White.
And Halifax does that, and you notice Billy White's guarding now Richter too. So he's guarding a shooter. He's able to stay in the corner, rest a little bit on defense, and it'll keep him fresher for his own offensive game.
Ellis to Richter. Thomas one-on-one with Tyrone Watson. Shot off the rim, no good. And Clink Scales will set it up in the half court now for Halifax. Up by 7 here. Dixon thought about shooting it. Mason left that one a little short. And that will be Halifax ball.
Yeah, slow rotations for the Storm. They're just a step slower than they were last game to start. So the things that you talked to Joe Salerno about that he was happy about, they're kind of forgotten a little bit to start this game.
Clink Scales will inbound the ball right here. 7:30 remaining in the first quarter. Here's Clink Scales. Watson, little floater, no good. Jahid Carson has it. And now Terry Thomas will push it up the court. He thought about the three. Down low for A.J. Stewart. Good move. Can he get it? No. Initially, a good move by A.J. Stewart along that baseline. Here's Antoine Mason. Another floater from Mason.
Yeah, good body control. He's had a great start to this game, and he's eating right there at center court.
Antoine Mason. He had a decent game. Game number 3, 14 points, 4 rebounds. And there's Terry Thomas, comes back and replies.
He's coming off the screen well. Like I said, Terry Thomas is an explosive person. Once he decides to go, he's going. And that's hard to stop. And you know that Halifax and Mike Leslie are going to be looking at that.
Dixon down low for Watson in the paint. Hook shot no good. Watson stays with it. All kinds of white shirts around him. And Akeem Ellis brings down the rebound.
Yeah, good shots by Halifax. And if you're the Storm, you can't allow them to be getting such easy. Holy.
Whoa, did you see that? Was that a mirage, or did I actually see that?
That's control. That's talent right there. That's one of the best point guards in the country playing. And take note of that, because that is difficult to do. Jahi Carson, unbelievable.
Nice bucket there from Agent One. Speaking of one, there's Watson. And Antoine Mason stays with it, and then he gets fouled.
Just a worker in there. He just sets up shop, and he's not going to move. He doesn't mind contact. Watch this. He's going right up and under. That is very similar to some of the moves that Michael Jordan used to do in the NBA, where he's up and under and releasing. So that's a huge, huge basket for the Storm team.
Okay, 5:47 remaining in the first quarter. It's the Halifax Hurricanes in front of the Storm, 14-9 in game number 4. We're stepping out, coming back to Charlottetown in just a bit.
Because I was living abroad.
With so many reasons to love 5 TV, it's time to make the switch to the best TV service.
Oh, sorry.
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 Sorry. Sorry.
Sorry. Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Island Storm basketball on 5 TV1 is brought to you by Grafcom Group Design Web Marketing. We're here to help you be great. Peter Ruttgazer alongside Gord McNeely and the 5 TV1 crew here in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. Game 4 of the Atlantic Division Final. 2-1 for the Storm over Halifax. And right now, Halifax off to a good start, Gord. They've got a 14-9 lead, and their big men are being their big men so far in this game.
Quality of shots are unbelievable for Halifax to start this game. If you're a Halifax fan watching from Metro, you're pretty happy right now. They're getting better shots. You know what? They missed probably about 4 or 5 easy layups too as well. They just didn't fall. So the Storm are really hanging on, trying to keep this close. Some good individual play by the Storm players, but Halifax has come out to they mean business this game.
And the one thing that Mike Leslie said, well, a couple of things. They didn't shoot the ball particularly well, and they turned the ball over 20 times. And that resulted in 27 points for the Island Storm off of turnovers. They want to minimize the turnovers and shoot the ball a little bit better, and so far so good. Here's Jahi Carson for 3. Nothing but net from Jahi Carson
And
out of Mesa, Arizona.
And that was a big problem for Halifax last game. If that guy gets hot, oh, it's all over, because he is an unbelievable spark plug.
11 of 17 from the field, 3 of 6 from three-point range. Jahi Carson in game number 3. Here's Dixon, speaking of threes, and boy, that is 3 in a row for Ronaldo Dixon.
Unbelievable.
He's got it going on.
Yeah, and he's just shooting in rhythm. Once you hit 1 or 2, the basket just decides to grow.
Here's Baines. He misses it. And Mike Leslie said once he got hot in game number 3, they decided to run some plays with Dixon in mind. Gets it down low for Billy White, and Billy gets fouled by Richter.
Yeah, and you know what? Mike Allison is 6'10", guarding Dixon. So, I mean, he can't defend that. He's not used.
Now we got some, sorry to interrupt, we got some pushing and shoving here. Mason and Carson. And hopefully cooler heads will prevail here. Sorry to interrupt you there, but go ahead.
There's just, he's guarding, there's some mismatch. Dixon's a mismatch for anybody. He's being guarded by a post player. So, I mean, he could take those people off the dribble anytime he wants.
Yeah, Mason, apparently, I didn't know this until today. Mason and Jahi Carson, there's no love lost there. I mean, these guys are not, you know, they're not on each other's Christmas gift list, apparently, from what I understand. Down for Richter, a little spin. I'm gonna wave that bucket off.
Yeah, so they're continuing to call it tight. And the refs have done a good job. I mean, in this series, like, when you're watching, I was watching the games in Halifax, and people were saying, talking about the refs and stuff, it's a different level of basketball. We're not used to seeing this physicality. So, you know, they're trying to keep this fair both ways, and they're doing a good job of it.
Here's Jahi Carson. Looking for options here. Terry Thomas. Poole is into the game now for Halifax. Mike Allison as the shot clock runs out. Yeah, it's funny that you say that. I mean, we're used to seeing here in Atlantic Canada AUS basketball. And I remember talking to Joe Salerno, and he says, this basketball that you're seeing here, the NBL Canada, more aggressive. More of a man game, if you will, I guess, for lack of a better word, than what you would see in the AUS. Long range shot in and out by Poole.
Yeah, and he's got a nice stroke, Mike Poole.
Terry Thomas defers to Baines, kicks it out for Richter for 3. That just missed, and it'll be Storm ball.
When Richter goes to shoot, you can feel the whole building like anticipated going in. Such a good shooter. And the whole Halifax team closed out, and then that's why it's hard to grab the rebound, because everybody's in motion, and once a shooter of that caliber decides to shoot, everybody knows it.
Here comes Rashad Wack back into the game for his first appearance. Boy, he went off in the fourth quarter in game number 3. Again, another example of the great depth that the Island Storm, they've been able to build up here heading towards the playoffs. Here's Jahi Carson, he gets rejected. And I believe that's going to be a foul against Dixon. It will be against Dixon.
And he shot 2 floaters there. Watch this floater. You think that's by design. He's only 5'11". And so those quick shots to shoot when the defender's not ready are by design. Gets his own rebound and then gets fouled on the body. There was not much contact up top. It was a hard body shot.
Right now, Jahi Carson with 6 points. Also with 6 is Terry Thomas. Terry Thomas 3 of 6 from the field so far in this one. And then you have for Halifax, Ronaldo Dixon knocking down the threes. 3 for 3 from three-point range. He has 9 points to lead all scorers with Halifax. So Jahi makes the second one. 18-13 in favor of Halifax. 3:35 remaining in the first quarter.
Love this point guard matchup. Clint Scales versus Carson.
There's Dixon trying to back down Allison. A little short with that shot. And they're going to say that Jahi stepped out when he got that ball.
And I don't know if you remember me talking about this before, Peter, but Dixon, this is by design. So Dixon's shooting the ball well from the perimeter. Now they think they have a mismatch because he's being guarded by various players, and they tried to go after that.
Terry Thomas on the break, one-handed jam. And that gets the crowd here in Charlottetown on their feet, making some noise.
And
a foul. And a foul. That was Dixon. Little push in the back.
And Terry Thomas stops to look around.
So Dixon has to come out. Cox will come in. And Terry Thomas will see if he can convert on the three-point play.
Well, this kid's as good as any player in the NBL. Right now, he's had monstrous games from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Shout out to Mr. Terry Thomas and all the supporters who got Terry Thomas this far in his career. Unbelievable player.
The NBL Canadian of the Year in 2016-17. Terry Thomas, named just last week, I believe. And there's Tyrone Watson. That one rolls around on the rim. Storm bringing up the court. Rashad Wack. Down low for Baines. Poole trying to guard him. Floater's no good. And Cox gets his first touch of the ball as he gets the rebound. Clink Scales kicks it out. Watson in the paint. Once more outside and bullseye for Poole.
That started with Clink Scales. He had about 5 or 6 different fakes in the span of about half a second. Got his post player open. Post player kicks it out to a perimeter, and that's the best way to shoot inside outside. 3 points.
21-16. 2:18 remaining in the first quarter.
I don't know why they stopped.
I don't know why they stopped either. I was going to ask you why they stopped.
He just pointed at the player and stopped the play.
And so Mike Leslie's got his hands up as assistant coach. Like, I don't blame him really, because the play had already started, and then he whistled it down and allowed the substitution to come in. Look at Mike Leslie.
Yeah.
Mike, we want answers too, my friend. So anyways, Brad States is into the game. Here's Rashad Wack outside. Poole with a tip to Cox, and now Clink Scales will bring it up. Here's Poole.
That's
Clink
a tough
Scales,
screen.
yeah, looking for options here. 9 on the shot clock. Poole's gonna try this one.
Oh.
And Poole, you had Dixon going off. Now Poole, he's got the hot hand for Halifax. That's 2 big shots in a row.
Hit that 3 after running the baseline. Not an easy shot. But, man, this kid's got a great stroke.
Here's Wack. And he finds iron. That was a bullet pass there, brought down by Cox, and then he gets fouled. So right now, late stages of the first quarter, and Halifax looking very comfortable here.
And look, that's because Clink Scales is a good point guard. He saw that Rashad Wack was guarding Cox. Huge mismatch in there, couldn't be done. Cox is 6'8", and just passed the ball straight ahead to where only Cox could catch it, foul. So, I mean, that's what makes good point guards great. Or Clink Scales, Jahi Carson, they just keep their head up and able to see every single player on the floor at all times.
Clink Scales 13 points, 1 rebound, 11 dimes in game number 3, 5 of 9 from the field. Here's DeBerry, he checks into the game, and he is hacked by Baines. And back to another stat on Clink Scales, he led the NBL in assists, 7.8 per game. Here's the foul on DeBerry.
Yeah, and that's awesome to see that replay. Good job in the truck, because there wasn't much contact. But the way both players were going, you anticipated the contact. And that's what happens sometimes with referees. Both players are gathering to go up. They anticipate a little bit, and they blow the whistle. But you never see refs go, oops, I made a mistake. So DeBerry right in the game, making his presence known. And this is important minutes for Halifax. I don't think their bench played very well last game. And today they're really stepping up. The second unit's really strong.
And a foul on Baines.
And credit to the Storm. Like, I've seen them run some sets this first quarter that have been better than any sets they've run all season. Like, they're running their offense. They're just, everybody's not being aggressive. They're not getting those open looks to fall. And that's the difference in this game. Halifax is hitting their open looks, and the Storm aren't.
And you know, the one thing that Mike Leslie told me before tonight's game is they struggle with trying to find a flow. You know, they were fighting the game, he said, for the most part in the first 2 quarters. But also, he gave credit to the Storm. They did things to get them out of the flow of their game.
Yeah, definitely. This is a nice matchup. Al Stewart, former NBL Defender of the Year, versus Clink Scales. Right there.
Oh, steal there by Al Stewart.
And just as we're talking, you see why he's the NBL former Defensive Player of the Year. His speed, his quickness, he puts instant pressure on your offense.
Clink Scales, he's going to try his first shot here. No good. Whack, moves it up the court, bounce pass, and Al Stewart just a little bit of butterfingers right there and couldn't hang on.
And they knew they had a good opportunity. Watch this, bang, in the passing lanes. So we're up in the booth, we're kind of expecting him to do something as we're watching him, and that's exactly why.
Under a minute now, 45 seconds to be exact. 26-20, Hurricanes in front. Here's DeBerry, uses that big body to get some room. Can't make the shot, though.
Yeah, he's not polished in there, so you don't want him trying some Akeem Olajuwon plays in there. You just want him catching and finishing.
Oh, Al Stewart again. Can't hang on. Clink Scales, Poole, Mason, baseline, drives off the glass and in.
Yeah, and off a broken play. You see the importance of hanging onto the ball, and the quick turnovers lead to baskets at this level at a rapid rate.
8 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Here's Whack. Fadeaway shot, no good. Al Stewart gets it back again, got to hurry. And that was in and out. So, the Hurricanes, they had their flow in that first quarter.
Yeah, that was a really entertaining first quarter of basketball. So both these teams are playing hard. It could have gone either way. You know, credit to Halifax. They're following Mike Leslie's game plan. Joe Salerno has to get this Storm back to following his.
Okay, we're going to take a break right now. Hurricanes up by 8 over the Storm. Back with more Game 4 of the Atlantic Division Finals right here in Charlottetown on 5TV1.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry. Sorry. Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry. Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Island Storm basketball on 5TV1 is presented to you by Centennial Auto Group, the official vehicle provider of the Island Storm. One family, one customer at a time since 1979. Getting set here for quarter number 2. And the Island Storm, well, didn't shoot the ball very well in that first quarter. 33.3% court.
No, they didn't shoot the ball. They were getting looks. I mean, it's credit to Halifax's defense. They started off with a different intensity, and it really got the Storm out of a rhythm. And vice versa, they're not shooting that ball, finishing those normal shots that they had. And you saw it there, Rashad Wax. If you looked at the play at the end, his fall through was all funny because he was rushing that. So get back to playing your basketball. If you're Halifax, keep pumping it inside and trying to get those wide open looks.
Conversely, Halifax shot 43.4% from the field, 10 of 23. Here's Poole. And Poole can do no wrong in this game. He himself and Dixon, they're just sharpshooters here so far.
And I mean, he hit a 16-footer coming off a back cut and then put that kind of touch on it. Unbelievable.
So 10-point lead for Halifax. Just underway here in the second quarter. Oh, nice pass by Ellis, and States can't convert, does some hustle work there, gets the ball back. Here's Al Stewart, he directs traffic. Stewart to States, and that's a nice lay in by Brad States.
Yeah, and it's good that he gets in the game right away, gets 2 looks at it, finishes the second one, huge bench points. And he'll come off for Terry Thomas. So, I mean, you'll see him back in a couple minutes, I think.
So Terry Thomas checks back in. Thomas so far with 9 points, 4-7 from the field. Here's Clink Scales. Mason, Thomas takes a tumble. Mason wide open. Hits the rim, saved by Rashad Wack, and now here's Thomas pushing it up the court. Al Stewart to Ellis. Cox trying to guard Ellis here.
They're not giving Akeem Ellis much room at all.
And that was Terry Thomas. He drove and goes for a tumble. And Terry Thomas will shoot 2.
Yeah, Terry Thomas is so good at turning the corner right there, and then going north-south. So if he has to go east-west, okay. But when he decides to go north-south, if you're not in front of him, you're in a very bad position when Terry Thomas is driving at you. I think he'd probably go to the line, maybe top 5 in the league for attempts. I mean, it's just because he's putting pressure on the defense all the time.
Thomas makes both.
And this year he's improved his driving left and his three-point shooting. So he's just become an all-round threat in many, many different departments.
6-point lead now for Halifax. Here's DeBerry.
And DeBerry got called for 3 seconds in the key. He's just not polished down there to do more than just catch and athletic. And he just needs a little bit of time to develop his 2 or 3 different moves down there.
You got Taquan Zimmerman. He's done for the season from what I hear from Coach Barry, or Coach Leslie, excuse me. And then you've got also CJ Washington, excuse me, again, out of the lineup. So those are 2 big players that they don't have. Now, for Halifax, good news is Coach Leslie told me that there's a possibility that Washington would return for Monday's game.
Yeah, one of the best players in the league. I love CJ. He just does everything. He'll change the game. He'll change the course of the game wherever he's playing. I mean, he's just tough to play against, big, strong body, and he's just a great basketball player. So that's good news for the Halifax Hurricanes.
A.J. Stewart at the line here. So now it's a 4-point lead.
And Billy White's on the bench for a while. He's getting a little bit of rest. He played a ton of minutes last game, so getting a little bit of extended rest here.
Here's Mason. Down low for DeBerry, working against A.J. Stewart. Little hook shot and a foul against A.J. Stewart, and he wants an explanation.
Yeah, and we'll see. Okay, good replay. Watch this. The contact, his hand is inside.
His hand came underneath him, didn't it?
Yeah, and the ref can see that. And then there was a lot of contact. It's just DeBerry shooting the ball. It's almost like usually your left shoulder gets a little bit more square so you can shoot and roll your hand. He's shooting across and over top of his body, so it's a little bit awkward.
Aaron Bowen, the former Georgetown player, into the game for Halifax. DeBerry misses the first.
He's going to be a good player. 6'9" out of Cincinnati.
Yeah, he's a big man. That's a fridge with legs that can run almost. That's how big he is.
Mm.
9:48 remaining in the second quarter. Shaheed Carson. Oh, nice feed there for A.J. Stewart, and he's fouled by DeBerry.
Yeah, and watch, Peter, because Carson's into the game, but do you remember Al Stewart got in and got that steal? It's a great, he just split the defender, and the defender couldn't guard 2 people. But Clink Scales is still in the game. So Clink Scales had to defend against Shaheed Carson, then Al Stewart, and now Carson again. So that's fatiguing as a point guard. So we'll see how that plays out. So Carson's getting a lot of extended minutes without much of a break. Or sorry, Clink Scales is.
So the Storm have cut into the lead now. Down by 8 when they began the second quarter. And that's a nice little move right there.
What's going on? There's nobody guarding over there. you know, to start, make sure you communicate. We've talked about that this season with the Storm. Sometimes they lack communication.
Here's Jahia fade away, drains it. Yeah, that's the one thing that Joe Salerno has talked about, that defensive communication. It needs to be there if they're going to be successful. And we haven't seen it here so far in game number 4.
And G. Carson got a nice open 15-footer. Was it because Halifax is starting to get a little tired defending that one of the premier players in the NBL?
There's Clink Scales, floater, and wow, what a move by Clink Scales as the shot clock was running down.
He's a baller. He competes, man.
Jahid.
That looks good.
Wow, Jahid coming back.
Wow. His release on that shot, I could see his whole hand. I could see the motion of his hand flick. It looked really confident. That's a lot of trouble for, and you see Mike Leslie going to his bench.
Billy White's going to come back in here. 35-32 for Halifax. Little push there, as that was Kenny Otino.
He doesn't like the call. But, you know, there's something neat too. Jahid Carson and A.J. Stewart are in that pick and roll, defending that pick and roll. And, man, I just saw the best little bit of trust between those two players guarding that. Very good, very positive. That's why the Storm's having a good playoff run. They're really trusting each other out here.
Jahid Carson for Stewart, down low. Off the glass and in.
And they've got Halifax defending in that middle area. Their defenders are getting stuck in no man's land, and they got to figure that out pretty quick.
1 point lead now for Halifax. Clink Scales in the paint, kicks it out. Here's Bowen. No good, loose ball. Billy White trying to get it, and A.J. Stewart gets the rebound. Here's Terry Thomas blazing up the court.
Oh, he's going to get the foul call.
And a foul on Otino.
And that's what Terry Thomas does. Like we said, if you're not defending in that space, watch this. He's coming at you so fast. Look at this. Boom.
Look at the speed.
Protects the ball, cups the ball, and then I don't know how to defend it. It's exactly how LeBron James makes it in the NBA. He'll just see a little opening and go. Terry Thomas plays very similar to LeBron James. Just 100 pounds.
Yeah, lighter.
Yeah. I wouldn't say 100 pounds.
From what I understand, LeBron and the Cavs, they had a pretty good game last night. My goodness, that was like a NBA team taking on a Division II school.
Uh-oh.
Oh, the alley, the oop is no good. Here's Akeem Ellis. Richter, Ellis.
Loves that up fake.
Floater no good. Billy White has it, and now it's Halifax's turn to speed it up the court. Otino fakes the shot. Clink Scales.
The zip on that pass.
Billy White one-on-one with A.J. Stewart. And they're going to call Billy White for the travel.
Oh, the old pull the chair.
Out from underneath, yeah.
Oh, exactly. So A.J. Stewart just didn't make contact. Watch, he just keeps backing up. He doesn't want to make contact, and that is a skill right there, to be able to do that and take a risk doing that against one of the best players in the league.
AJ will sit down for a bit, take a breather. Mike Allison comes back in. Akeem Ellis to Allison, nice pass. Can he finish? Nope, can't.
And he
Good
knows
pass,
it.
though, by Akeem.
It was a great pass, and you got to finish that one. You really do.
Tied now at 35 apiece. Billy White, Allison trying to defend White. Bowen was right there, recovers the ball. Clink Scales behind the back pass. Some razzle dazzle. Bowen drives. That is a nice looking drive by Aaron Bowen.
Yeah, they're having trouble with a few rotations there, the Storm are. And that's what happens. Halifax is a good, aggressive team. They needed that basket.
Halifax by 2. Jahid Carson loses the handle. And it'll be Storm ball with 10 seconds left on the shot clock.
That's a good bit of action right there by both these teams.
So the Storm, they've cut into the lead. It's now Halifax 37, Island Storm 35. We're stepping out. We'll come right back with more of Game 4 of the Atlantic Division Final right here on 5TV1.
Wouldn't it be nice to have a big brother?
That's what you want to do this weekend?
I want to go to the Canada Game Center. I want to go swimming on the big yellow slide, which goes outside.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Definitely do that for sure.
Yeah.
Probably go bowling too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids with mentors grow up to be more successful adults. Supporting Big Brothers Big Sisters is a great way to have a positive impact on your community. To volunteer or make a donation, go to bigbrothersbigsisters.ca.
Dozens of maritime children are injured each year when TVs and furniture fall on them. Avoid putting things children want on top of the television. Never place heavy TVs on top of unstable furniture. Use a low, stable surface and push it back as far as possible. If a child might climb on it, attach furniture to the wall with safety straps or anchors. Supervise small children at all times.
Save the climbing for the playground.
For more information on preventing injuries, visit childsafetylink.ca.
Welcome back, everybody. Island Storm Basketball on 5TV1 is brought to you by Insight Brand and Marketing Studio. Experience Insight. Peter Rutgazer alongside Gord McNeely and the 5TV1 crew. And the Halifax Hurricanes trying to even up the series here this evening. They have a 2-point lead over the Storm. That was a much better, I guess, sequence of basketball that we've seen from the Storm so far here this evening.
Oh, yeah, they really, well, they got free. The game started to open up. I think Halifax they're leaning on 6, maybe 7 players, 8 players on their bench. So the Storm are a little bit deeper, and Jahi Carson got open for some open looks. And they're getting Terry Thomas to take it hard to the basket. Just keep playing the way you are, set good screens, and a few little gaps defensively for the Storm. But, I mean, all in all, they're bringing it back here this second quarter.
Jahi Carson. Here's Richter as Otino took a spill. And Richter couldn't hit that shot. Allison, they're going to call him for the travel. He doesn't like it. Joe Salerno doesn't like it. Akeem Ellis is walking by the referee, holding his tongue.
Well, there's so many different plays. There was missed screen calls. Like, the refs could blow all kinds of different stuff here. But that one, he got bumped. That's what they're saying, got bumped before because that caused the travel.
Joe Salerno went back to the referee another time to give him an earful. There is Joey Haywood. I haven't seen a lot of Joey so far in this game.
This is his first action, so.
Hakeem Ellis, that's a deep 3. That was in and out.
He likes to shoot deep shots. He's way back there shooting them, NBA and beyond range.
Hakeem doesn't lack confidence. Otino drives and can't lay it in. Terry Thomas now wants to push it.
And that's a hustle rebound.
Allison recovers. Gonna drive on Billy White here. Billy White saying no way. Gets rejected the first time. Shot clock running down.
Look at this defense. Look at this.
Clinkscales locked up against Jahi Carson. Long pass here for Clinkscales. And he tried to make a pass there for Otino, but it goes off the leg of Terry Thomas.
And that's how you get into a stance. For the kids watching out there, Clinkscale's stance there, and Jahi Carson's got a good stance on him. You want to be a good defender, that's where it starts. You work in the gym in the summer. You get down there until you can't feel your legs anymore. And that's how you be a good defender. Wow.
That was pure lockdown mode there by Clinkscales.
This game means a lot for both these teams and these communities.
And they wave the bucket off.
He wants the continuation. Billy White wants a continuation, but foul was on Jahi Carson Carson on the hand check before.
Billy White will inbounds it off from the side.
And he's only taken 2 shots. So I didn't think Halifax would have a 2-point lead with 4 minutes left to go in the second quarter with Billy White only taking 2 shots.
Well, we saw it in game number 3 as White is in there, little tap back, can't get that one to sink. We saw it in game 3. I mean, he didn't get going until the third quarter, and he came out like a house on fire. That ball can't roll in, and now Akeem Ellis sticks with the play and gets the deuce.
But this series has been exceptional for Halifax, missing easy, tiny little putback layups. Like it's an exceptional amount for this team. So we'll see how that plays out for the rest of the game.
Here's Bowen. He finds White, who was all alone underneath the bucket, and he's fouled by Richter.
Yeah, and so this is the Storm zone. And what they're doing, the first time we've seen it, so it's a 3-2 zone. And what Halifax did immediately was put one of their best players at the high post, right there. So they'll put him at the high post, and everybody, that's the position you have to learn how to play if you want to be a good 3, 4, 5 player in any basketball league, right there against the zone.
Now, the Storm never played zone. We talked about it in Game 3. They never played zone at all during the regular season. They implemented a zone in Game number 2. It was a problem for Halifax, but then Game 3, they didn't go to zone at all.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, they didn't really. They were in control of the game.
There's Richter. He gets hacked. That was Haywood. And, you know, talking to Joe Salerno, the thing that he told me was that, yeah, we wanted to get back to playing man. And the other thing he said was, we want to keep them off balance. You know, we want them to guess a little bit on what we're going to do. So that was part of, I guess, of his game plan.
And these free throws are important for Al Richter because I haven't seen his release very high today. So he hits 2 free throws. Watch his next 3-pointer. See if he gets that release up. Sometimes he just needs something good to happen. Even a couple of free throws, and it could change your shooting stroke.
Storm up by 1 now, 39-38. 3:35 remaining in the second quarter.
Oh, they're working this offense.
Oh my goodness, Poole.
Yeah.
Is he gonna miss?
They have worked on this in practice. You can tell.
Wow. Mike Poole is simply on fire.
Yeah, well,
I don't think he's missed anything, has he?
Well, if you and I had a shooting stroke like that, we'd have been pretty good players too. You know, he shoots it so well.
Rebound brought down by Haywood.
Oh, yeah.
Otino with a nice move.
Yeah, this zone is not long for this world.
And Billy White with the finish.
Yeah, getting good shots, and they followed what Mike Leslie had drawn up to a T. And we'll talk about that maybe, you know, if at the zone what they were doing was they were coming down post entry left, and they would immediately bring the next guy on the weak side right to the high post. And then they rotated through there, and the same thing going the other way, and it worked.
Some of the adjustments that they have made here that you've noticed, Halifax, that is.
Yeah, so Halifax attacking the Storm defense there, because if you're just tuning in, the Storm used that zone to win a game in Halifax, and they played it very well, and Halifax did not have the answer for it, as you see some highlights there. So Joe Salerno just called a timeout. He's like, we're not playing this zone right now. We're going back to finish off man-to-man. And you see this game's full of such amazing basketball plays so far, and you're seeing some of them here. That shot right there, Jahi Carson really, really nailing it. Just playing well as a team. Both these teams are.
Here you see Bowen driving. And you know, I'm still, in my mind, I'm still seeing that drive by Jahi Carson where he was looked like he was kind of off balance, but he really wasn't off balance. Yeah. I mean, just such athleticism. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's so, I think we were talking before in the booth, Jahi Carson, during his NBA combines and stuff, when he went down, he had the highest vertical out of any player.
Wow.
Or anybody trying to see. The guy, he can flat out fly. 5'11", stocky, point guard, can handle the ball. He's a perfect, brilliant basketball player. And when that's why he's got little floaters. He can shoot the 3, drive, finish with both hands. I mean, he's really the engine of this team.
He had a great career at Arizona State. Played a little bit of professional ball in Turkey and Cyprus. And he is a welcome addition here at the NBL Canada.
Yeah, and if his family's watching, we're saying hello to you down in the United States. And thanks for letting Jahi come up and play up here in Charlottetown.
Native of Mesa, Arizona, and he's been a welcome addition to this league and to this team. A floater by Thomas. Makes it.
They have to get back to Terry Thomas. I mean, he's been working. I mean, he's grabbing rebounds that he shouldn't be grabbing. He's all over the place today. You got to reward Terry Thomas for that hard work. Don't forget about him.
2:40 left in the second quarter.
And TT's got 12 points.
Here's Mason. Puts it up, gets it. 45-41 now.
A good penetration. Mason's having a great game. Technical foul, I think, is coming up. No.
Not too sure what the call is here.
Well, after they're done, you know.
Looks like it's against Halifax.
Brett Stalker, that's Brett Stalker.
I'm just going by the fact that Mike Leslie seems to be a little ticked off here.
It was just a foul, okay. But both coaches were upset. Like, it's getting physical here. 2 minutes left in this first half. This is an important time in this basketball game.
Here's Wack off a screen. And Rashad Wack not having a great game from the field so far.
Yeah, he was hugely important last game. He came in and hit some big shots in that second half. Coming off running that baseline, I always found, like, you see Steph Curry make it look like a joke where he comes off of a baseline full sprint and then, you know, he does 3 spins and shoots it. But I mean, that's so hard. And Rashad Wack did it. I thought that was going to go in, that one.
Wack 0 for 3 from the field.
Keep
Here's
going
Terry
back
Thomas.
to this young man. So that's 16 points for TT. You got to be able to stop, for Halifax, you got to be able to stop his penetration.
Here's Mason, a little step on Wack. That was a tough bucket, and he got it.
He's feeling good. Just, you can't let him get a step either.
Terry Thomas loses the handle. Mason back the other way, up the court, down the middle, lays it in. And now Joe Salerno, he has seen just about enough. And he's called a timeout here with 1:18 remaining in the second quarter. And you can see the steam coming out of Joe's ears right there. He's not happy.
Yeah, Antoine Mason making a huge difference. He's got 15 points. And just taking his penetration and just doing the little things.
Okay, Halifax up by 6. We'll come back, wrap up the second quarter. You're watching NBL Canada playoff action on 5 TV1. Welcome back to Charlottetown, everybody. 1:18 remaining in the second quarter, and Halifax, they have themselves a 6-point lead. It's 49-43 for the Canes. And Joe Salerno called that timeout, see if he can get his team to wrap up this first half in better form, I guess you could say.
Definitely. I mean, this has been such a great game. Just a turnover here. Mason's playing well. Terry Thomas is coming back. The lead's changing. I mean, this is exactly what you want from a playoff game.
Halifax shooting 48.7% from the field. The Storm, not so good, 38.8%. Rashad Wack trying to gain a step there on Watson. A little bit of a floater. He was off balance totally there.
Not the shot you want out of a timeout, because they double teamed Jahi Carson and nobody moved to the ball.
Haywood setting up shot. Here is that Poole?
Yes.
He missed that one?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
I tell you, he's probably been one of the hottest players on either team so far in this first half. And
it didn't look like it was in flow, that shot, though. It was very, I mean, man.
He's got 11 points, 4 of 5 from the field, 3 of 4 from three-point range. So he's done the job coming off the bench for Halifax.
Bringing Baines and Brad States in for the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, towards the end of the second quarter, not great for the Storm, but having said that, I mean, they're down by 5.
Yeah, they've really fought to stay in this game, and I thought when they got it to equality, I thought they were going to keep pushing. But Antoine Mason was the big difference to finish off the second quarter. I mean, Dixon hasn't done much. I mean, we haven't seen clink scales, so I mean, they're getting that production from their bench, and we didn't see that last game. So it's going to keep everybody a little bit fresher and ready for a good, strong third quarter if you're Halifax.
19 seconds now remaining in the second quarter, and Haywood gets fouled.
Yeah, they had a foul to give.
Jahi Carson put the clamps on him. So Halifax, they want to talk things over with 15.7 seconds remaining. 8 seconds left on the shot clock.
And they're going to bring on Al Stewart for Jahi Carson, just so Jahi Carson doesn't pick up another foul. So they had a foul to give. So what that means, if you're a fan watching, is that the team gets allocated a certain amount of fouls per quarter, and you start shooting from the foul line once you reach 5 fouls or 6 fouls in that quarter. And the Storm had a foul to give with 15 seconds, so they're able to stop the clock and then reset. So that's some of the kind of the technicalities of what these coaches are kind of playing, what they're doing at the end of quarters, using their timeout. So it's a lot to take in. These coaches know the game inside and out, and they do a good job of it.
And you know, it's a tactic too. I mean, I remember earlier on this season when London came to town, and Joe Salerno said, I mean, he told Robert Nortman, hey, you got 6 fouls, take them, use them against Royce White.
Yeah.
And he did, and he played a strong game that day. Earlier on in the season, they beat London. Speaking of London, they're up 3-0 in their Central Division final against Windsor, and they won Game 3 very easily, 122-97. They play Game 4 tonight, and they could wrap up that series and head to the NBL Canada Finals.
Yeah, it'd be awful nice. I know these communities, both Halifax and Charlottetown, want to host them, want to bring them down. I mean, Royce White is he was drafted 15 in the NBA a couple of years ago, so decided not to go play for various reasons, and now he's landing in London. So get out and watch this guy play, because he's a true baller.
And that game, I believe, is underway right now. 7 o'clock Eastern time start. So we'll try to give you a score in Game 4 of that series between London and Windsor as the night progresses here. Right now in this game, 14.9 seconds remaining in the second quarter, and it's the Hurricanes with a 4-point lead on the Storm.
A good defense by Brad States there to make it hard on Mason to get it in. There's a foul.
Foul there by States. Again, another foul to give.
Timeout. So what they're going to do is Halifax will diagram a play. With 12 seconds left here to go get the best shot they can. This is strategic stuff here at the end of quarters. And you know, if you're that young kid trying to make that Canada Games team, or you know, 14 under 13, you got to tune into these games. Maybe not so much in the middle of the quarters, but tune in at the end of the quarters and figure out, listen to the announcers and figure out what each team's trying to do. You could learn a great deal about the game of basketball.
Especially if the announcers know something about basketball. Like, you know something about basketball.
Peter, you know a lot about basketball. You're doing a great job. And so are all the announcers. Listen, they got...
I'll give you the $50 later on. Don't worry about it.
some friends in Moncton announcing. St. John announcers are great. Cape Breton announcers, Halifax. I mean, they all do a great job. Even in Ontario, I've listened to them all. So, you know, continued success. All the commentators out there in the NBL.
So 12.5 seconds remaining in the second quarter.
I think both coaches did a good job in this first half. It's right there. At this point, last game, Halifax or the Storm had a 10-point, 12-point lead going into halftime. Now the Hurricanes will have a slim majority here going into the third quarter. I cannot wait for the third quarter and fourth quarter here. It's going to be electric.
So now Mike Allison's going to come in, and A.J. Stewart will take his seat, which is probably a good idea.
Yeah, well, they're trying to use Mike Allison's size and protect the guys who can pick up easy fouls at this point in the game. So the guys that he wants AJ on at the end of the game.
Yeah, he already has 2 fouls, so A.J. Stewart, that is.
Watch for a screen. This is going. Watch for a screen on Billy White. Here's the screen, and this is what they're trying to get him right there. Didn't get it. So now a penetration.
Haywood, that's a tough shot. Put back by Billy White, and he misses it. So 2 quarters in the book scored, and we've got a tight one going towards the third quarter, 49-45 in favor of Halifax.
Doesn't get better than this. This is NBL action, playoff action. Big crowd here in Charlottetown. Buckle up and get back for the third quarter because it's going to be a good one.
Okay, so we do have a good one on our hands. Game 4 of the Atlantic Division Final. We're going to take a break. On the other side, we'll have our halftime report. You're watching the NBL Canada playoffs on 5 TV1. Welcome back to Charlottetown. At the break, it is the Halifax Hurricanes with a 49-45 lead over the Island Storm in Game 4 of the Atlantic Division Finals. Heather Moyse will probably go down as one of the greatest bobsledders to ever come out of Canada. The Summerside Prince Edward Island native, with her partner Kaylee Humphreys, captured gold medals in the 2010 and 2014 Winter Olympics in 2 women bobsleigh. But as Rachel Lalani found out, there's more to Moyse than just the sport of bobsled.
And just played for the sheer love of it. Between that, those 3rd and 4th year of university, I played in a tournament in the summer, and I was scouted and was told that I was added to the long list for the national program. And I said, what national program? And they're like, the National Women's Rugby Team. And at that point, I hadn't even known we had a National Women's Rugby program. So the following summer, right after my graduation, I played against the United States in the first year they ever had a development level. But then after that, I went traveling. I lived in Ireland, traveled there for half a year, and then I lived in Trinidad and Tobago for almost 3 years. And when I moved back to Canada, my sister convinced me to just play club rugby again. And I just, thought, okay, well, it'll be fun to play with my sister. And that summer we played 1 game against Quebec, Ontario against Quebec, and there happened to be a national coach watching that game, and by the end of the summer I was at a development camp, and 2 months later in October I was on my first tour with the national rugby team in England.
So listening to both of your stories, it sounds like there was a person always there to kind of help you get to that next level. So for young aspiring athletes who want to get to that next level, Is it just luck, or would you say, how do you make those connections for those high levels?
No, I don't think it's necessarily the people that were connected. I think it was the people who saw something in me that I didn't initially see in myself. So I think it's, and the same with cycling. It was a sports doctor who knew that I was trying to rehab an ankle injury, and he suggested track cycling as a way to keep up my speed and my power, thinking I would be also very good at it, but without any impact, you know. And it's just, I think those people were able to see something, and I think that's true in a lot of things. They see potential in you, and that we often don't see in ourselves. And sometimes it takes those people to either let us know. For some people, it's only a verbal kind of recognition. For other people, it's actually physically doing something to make people realize that, oh my goodness, there might be something here, or that challenge to see how far you can get. So I think it's important, if you see potential in somebody else, they need to know that.
So you've had such an outstanding career as an athlete, and now that's kind of led you into motivational speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, speaking of believing in people, so tell me kind of how you got into that career path.
Well, that career path, well, a lot of Olympic medalists will get, you know, asked to come and speak for various companies and different organizations immediately following the Olympics. And the thing is that not all Olympic athletes, they will definitely accept that because, you know, of the money involved, especially after having trained for so many years without receiving a lot of money. But not a lot of them are necessarily want to be a speaker or want to pursue that kind of career. So you can't expect them to be great speakers, but I loved it. I loved it. I loved the response that I would get from people, and not because of my story, but because of the way I was able to shift people's perspectives and make them think about their own situation, whether it was in work or whether it was in relationships or whether it was in, you know, their personal goals, and be able to reframe something so that they would look at it in a different way and realize that they're either using excuses or there are self-limiting beliefs that are going to stop them from achieving what they actually want to achieve. And when that light flickers on and you see that look in their eyes, like, oh my gosh, I get it. For me, it's the best feeling ever. So it's really been a remarkable journey, but I love it.
So what would be one of the most memorable, you know, people or experiences that you've had working with someone to kind of help motivate them?
Well, I've actually personally mentored a number of people just to get over a hump of something. I've spoken to a number of people who've gone in for various surgeries because I had hip surgery just a year before the Sochi Olympics. So a lot of people overcoming that obstacle and that mindset, that potentially limiting mindset, a lot of people want just to shift things in their thinking to know that they can come back from an injury. One of them was an RCMP. I've spoken to an actress who heard me speak once and then asked if she could have a private phone call after, just because she was working on a few things and needed to get over this hurdle that she was facing. I've spoken to students. I spoke to a lawyer in Toronto. I worked with a lawyer for a little while when he was trying to, you know, overcome a few challenges. It's been really, really amazing. But after I speak, it is not, I won't say it happens more often than not, but quite frequently I'll have someone come up and they are very emotional after hearing me speak. And part of it is because they've internalized my message in a very personal way, not necessarily associating with their career, which a lot of people do, but internalizing it in terms of something that they've been really struggling with for a long time. And a lot of what I hear is, I'm so glad you came to speak because I've been having a really hard time and I needed to hear what you said. And maybe it's just a reset. Maybe it's just like a reframing something that they're dealing with. But I love it.
And what's one message that you always try to make sure you tell in every speech that you do? Is there one message completely, or is there different messages depending on your audience?
There are different messages. I think that, like for young students, I usually focus more, even though I touch on this with adults and corporate people. I do talk about no excuses, and you need to have in order to have no regrets, you need to have no excuses, and that sort of storyline. But the main thing is just believing. It's not there are no guarantees in anything, but it's believing in the possibilities of what could happen if you kept going. Because, and this is probably my overarching message for everything, is that we're all capable of way more than we give ourselves credit for. And whether that's based on self-limiting beliefs or fears or assumptions or actual tangible, obstacles that we've interpreted as obstacles in our minds, we often sell ourselves short, and we are all capable of way more than we give ourselves credit for.
This little interview there, Rachel Alani with the great Heather Moyes from Summerside, Prince Edward Island, one of the best bobsledders to ever come out of this country. Right here in Charlottetown, the Halifax Hurricanes, they had themselves a 49-45 lead in Game 4 of this Atlantic Division Final. And you've got the Halifax Hurricanes shooting much better tonight than they did in game number 3. They're shooting 46.3% from the field compared to 37.8% for the Island Storm. And leading the way for the Storm, Terry Thomas with 16 points. And for Halifax, it's Mason with 13. Your overall thoughts on what you saw in that first half? Halifax, maybe when you think about it, they should be up by 10, maybe a dozen points here. And even though the Island Storm didn't play a great half, they're still in this game.
Yeah, and Halifax did what they had to. They had to come out and they had to establish their defense, get the ball inside, shoot the ball after it's been inside, outside. And they did a great job of that. Like, look, Billy White's only got 2 points. And Antoine Mason's playing well. I mean, Dixon started off hitting threes. For the Storm, just get some more flow. Get that ball into action faster. There's a little bit too much dribble, and then you're killing your own shot clock. Get the ball in, get it moving. I saw them do that a few times. And go back to Jahi Carson and Terry Thomas. Ride that as long as you can, and then start to get your bigs involved. The hardest thing to do is when you're up 2-1, and then you're playing at home, is to come out hard in that next game. This is the time where you go back to Halifax up 3-1, and you're very happy with that if you're a Storm fan. You lose this game, and you start the series over again. It becomes a best of 3. So get her done, and both teams, listen, one thing's for sure, you're going to expect a pretty intense third quarter right here.
Yeah, so Game 5 in this series will take place Monday in Halifax. And the Island Storm would love to take a little bit of a death grip, I guess, if you will, with a victory here. You talked about Billy White. He has not shot the ball very well, and that was the case in Game 3 as well. But in Game 3, second half, Billy White was on fire, as was Ronaldo Dixon.
So he took over in the third quarter. He's just not getting the ball in great position. He's doing too much screening for other people, and people need to screen for Billy White. So make sure you get him the ball. And listen, Akeem Ellis really has to perform here in this third quarter. I'm expecting more from him. His numbers aren't up to snuff, and he's able to turn it on whenever he wants.
Just 2 points so far in this game from Akeem Ellis. In terms of foul trouble, you've got Ronaldo Dixon. He has 3. Billy White has 2. 3 for DeBerry. And then for the Storm, a number of players with 2, including Ellis, Wack, Richter, and Jahi Carson. Al Stewart also, or AJ Stewart, excuse me, with 2. So we're underway here. Third quarter action. Game 4 of the Atlantic Division Final. Jahi Carson, his 3 is no good. Here's Clinkscales. Watson kicks it out for Clinkscales. Good ball movement here, Richter. Trying to defend Watson.
Trying to get that mismatch. They think this is a mismatch inside.
Here's Mason. Antoine Mason, he's feeling it. He's happy about that shot.
Yeah, and he extended a little bit, and when that's really not your game and you hit one of those, you're like, woohoo. So and you see that big emotional boost for Halifax to start this quarter.
Mason was doing a little skip down the court there after hitting that tray.
Look at the defense on Jahi Carson. That's on Billy White on the weak side of the floor. They don't want him to touch the ball again.
Terry Thomas fade away, and the rebound brought down by Dixon. The alley, the oop. Nice pass there for Billy White. Maybe Billy White will get hot here.
Yeah. Very good. And that's because he was guarding Jahi Carson in the 3 spot. He was guarding over there. Just a rebound went up, and he just kept running that lane. So he's running the other lane right now. Do you see Clint Scales' eyes, they didn't even come down. Hits the big man over top. They've done that hundreds of times this year.
That's why Clint Scales, the leader in assists during the regular season in NBL Canada action. Mentioned the stat earlier on. He led the league with 7.8 assists per game. Here's Terry Thomas. Not enough on that one.
Yeah, they're doing a good job of cutting his lanes out and denying Jahi Carson. So they're trying to take those two guys away.
And there you see Clint Scales and White. They team up again. That is a deadly duo for Halifax.
Yeah, come out a little bit sleepy. Like I said, this is a hard game to close when you're at home and you're trying to go up 3-1. I mean, it's difficult to get everything going.
Richter for three. And Al Richter has not had a good night shooting, as have a number of players with this Storm team. Mentioned Akeem Ellis. Watson trying to back down Richter. Watson. And there's Billy White.
Yeah, you need a timeout. That's an awful start to a quarter. Just didn't do anything you talked about it in halftime if you're the Storm. You've got to do a better job than that. This is a playoff game. You got to come out and take care of your home court.
Very reminiscent from what we saw in Game 3 in the third quarter. Halifax came out and they meant business after having kind of an iffy first half.
If you get beat on long shots, if you get beat on something, but you get beat on somebody coming over your back in your home court, grabbing an offensive rebound and putting it in, that's unacceptable. Everybody's watching one-on-one play down in the post with Watson and Richter, and you've got to make sure you're taking care of your own. And offensively, it's just been for the Storm, you hear it's a one pass and shot, one pass and dribble. And that's what Mr. Salerno's talking about right now. He's saying, let's get the ball moving. Let's get this back and make Halifax play a little bit of defense. Because, Peter, when you're doing that, when you're taking one shot so quickly as the Storm are, if you miss, you're just starting Halifax's fast break. And this is what happens when that happens is they come down. Good teams like that, they'll come down and say, thank you very much. It wasn't a good shot. We're taking it. Dunk.
So now Storm, they've had their little conversation, a little extended time in the Halifax huddle here. They want to make sure everybody's on the same page. They've got themselves a 58-45 lead, 9:49 remaining in the third quarter. As you take a look at Jahi Carson, and Jahi right now 13 points, 4 or 6 from the field.
You're basically on an 11-2 start if you're the Storm at home in the third quarter. See the ball movement a little bit better?
Just can't seem to finish.
Yeah, that was a better shot and better movement.
Here's Antoine Mason. He wants a screen set. Gets it down for Billy White. Tried to pass through that double team and lost it. Now Jahi Carson will settle it down. Gonna drive, floaters, good. See if that can get the Storm rolling a little bit.
Yeah, and he did a good job there of making sure that his team got a great shot.
Clink Scales. Dixon. Mason. Down low for
Here's a double
Billy
team.
White. Double team. Passes out of it. Oh, that's a nice play there by Billy White to find Watson coming out of that double team.
It's hard to do a double team when people on the weak side of the court are moving. And that's what Halifax did, and very good offense. Credit to Mike Leslie and his group.
13-point lead now for Halifax. Here's Akeem Ellis, Terry Thomas. He's wide open. Can't convert. And is that a foul on Dixon? I think it is. That's going to be his fourth.
Yeah, and good. Terrell Bain stayed in there, got good position, and the defender wasn't strong enough to move him out.
So Mike Leslie's looking down the bench. Don't know if he's going to make a substitution anytime soon here as Dixon with 4. Here's Richter.
No, he's pulling the string.
Yeah, not having a great shooting night, Al Richter.
It's a little bit short.
And Al with a little bit of a WWE wrestling move there on Mason.
It's just a frustration foul from the play before. But if you watch that shot in the corner, you'll see it like we've seen Al Rector shoot, and it comes up and it extends. It keeps extending as high as it can, and they're just getting a little bit short of the top. You know it's going to be short from shooters.
Antoine Mason, baseline, inside for Watson. Kicks it out. Good ball movement here by Halifax, and nothing but net. Dixon putting the guns back in the holster.
Yeah.
Jahi Carson denied, and a foul coming up here. Is it against Clink Scales? I think it is.
Oh, Dixon doesn't have a permit to shoot that hot. Watch here. And it goes inside. Good defense inside, but then it was a crazy funny follow through, and it's just it's a feel good, like you're feeling good when you've hit a bunch of shots, and a lot goes in.
One thing Mike Leslie says about his team, they're very unselfish. They want to pass that ball around. And right now is a prime example of that because they have 19 assists so far in this game.
And that three came out of the post, back to your point guard, over to your 3 guard, and hits it.
Long pass for Mason, and Mason saying that he was held there by Al Stewart.
Well, Stewart was held onto his jersey when the ball was in the air, so that's what he's saying. Ref didn't see it or call it.
7:47 remaining in the third quarter. Halifax has come out here. Guns ablaze in 63-49 lead. There's Terrell Baines, and he loses the handle. That'll be Halifax ball.
Yeah, I like Halifax's defense. This whole quarter has been dictated by Halifax's defense. They're really getting out and taking away space.
Halifax now shooting 52% from the field, so shooting much better than game 3. Mason tried to get it to Billy White. He recovers, lays it in. And Billy White, there you see the size of Halifax coming through for them.
Yeah, he's going to shoot that.
Hakeem Ellis way downtown, and there is a lid on that bucket for the Island Storm right now.
And that's his shot. We've seen him hit that shot this season, time in, time. Whoa, nice spin.
And Dixon ran out of track, but Storm get tagged for a foul. That'll be Hakeem Ellis, and now he has got to come out of the game. Brad States will come in.
And now the Storm, your philosophy is a little bit different. You're trying to play this 6 minutes out to get it close, to get it 8, 7, 6 points. And that's what you're focusing on. You know, to keep Halifax in check and keep this game under wraps. This is exactly what the Storm did to Halifax in Halifax to win and steal that game. So.
And you go back to, they won game 1, you go back to game 2. I mean, they could very easily have come to Charlottetown with a 2-0 lead. They lost game 2 in overtime.
Yeah, but I like Halifax's defense right now. They're really going after it. They're playing like they have nothing to lose, and that's.
Baines in the paint. Nice shot there by Baines, little hook shot off the glass and in.
Yeah, good job by the veteran there, taking his time and getting his team a basket. Trying to get this.
This is a good matchup for Halifax here. Stewart comes over to help out States. A little floater by Clink Scales. And now Al Stewart, he tried to get it to Terry Thomas, a turnover. Watson, Clink Scales. And Clink Scales is fouled by States. And a little scrambly play there.
Yeah, Stewart just lost. Watch this. He just, I don't know. Just
was he
lost
trying
the
to
handle.
pass it to Terry Thomas?
He was thinking about, yeah, exactly, Peter. He was thinking about it and then said, oh, and he said no. He tried to pull it back.
Pull it back.
And watch this. He's like, no, I don't know. I think he just might have lost the handle. And then look at the contact. It's neat seeing it in slow motion. You can see all those like little fouls. Truck here does a great job. So this is Clink Scales doesn't miss foul shots very often. Good foul by Brad States. They had a 3-on-1 after that play because the momentum could have changed right there with that basket. They had a 3-on-1 coming the other way, and now Halifax is at the line. So it's one of those head-scratching kind of games. You're like, what?
And right now, the Storm trying to find some answers. Down 68-51, and there's Terrell Baines.
And this is the lineup Joe Salerno likes to use with the 2 point guard set. To get them back. When they get down big, he'll use these 2 point guards, Stewart and Carson, to change the dynamic.
There's Billy White. He gets the bucket, the hoop and the harm, and he'll head to the line. And Brad States is tagged with the foul, and States in disagreement.
And we're starting to see Billy White time.
Yeah.
And he's starting to, when the Storm are pressing to get back into this game, and Billy White just will not have. He's such a veteran that he knows where to go, and he's always around the basket cleaning up stuff.
Billy White now with 14 points, 12 rebounds. He's got 3 assists, 6 of 9 from the field. Terry Thomas. Al Stewart pulls up for the jumper. And the Storm, they needed that one. Try to get their confidence going here.
5 minutes left in the third. You need 3 or 4 stops in a row.
Billy White, Watson, ball deflected to Klingscales. Dixon, yes. Ronaldo Dixon, he the man. Knocking down that shot from outside, hitting another tray.
His stroke looks really good. He didn't even hesitate. You know,
no.
he felt.
As soon as it hit his hands, he was wide open, and it was like it was nothing.
No.
Mason gets the rebound. And Halifax starting to dominate here, starting to heat up.
And that just silenced the crowd.
Dixon again, the fake. Little jumper here, missed that one. Boy, Dixon and Poole have just been unbelievable here tonight, shooting from range. And there's Al Stewart trying to get the Storm back into this one.
Yeah, so you just got to get back and set. There's the double team.
Watson, Dixon.
Oh, they're lucky. The Halifax got an offensive foul. A bad screen because out of that double team, the Storm are double teaming Billy White, but they're not playing the rest of the players very well. It's pretty scrambly on the coming out of that. So, but you have to double Billy White. He's that good. You can't let him get going even more than he is.
Late stages of the third quarter. Halifax in front, 74-57.
Look at this. Halifax in a little bit of a zone here. Let's see what the Storm can do with it.
Allison, that shot's no good. Here's Mason. Mason again. Wants to drive on Al Stewart. And Al Stewart with the foul.
And he was working. He was working to get position. It's just Mason's so strong that he almost picked Al Stewart up and brought him to the basket. Good drive by Mason. That's what he knows, that he's got a size advantage and a strength advantage. Gets rewarded with foul shots. But you know what he said? For the Storm, you're trying to get this to 8 or 9, and it's just not happening. You know what I mean? You're looking at getting closer. You want to stay away from that 20-point mark. You got to get this down right now.
So Mason gets both. So this is going to be a crucial 3:40 here in the third quarter. Terry Thomas kicks it over here for Jahi Carson, no good. Watson last to touch it, and that'll be Storm ball, but just 4 seconds. No, they put a fresh shot clock up there.
I think they might adjust it. Well, maybe not. But listen, in this game, the Storm have not hit any three-pointers. Al Richter, Akeem Ellis is cold. So where's your offense coming from? Could be Al Stewart. It's just one of those nights, right? So if you're cold, things aren't going, shots aren't falling like they normally do. This is what happens when you keep going on.
Storm right now are just 1 for 15 from three-point range, 6.6%. So yeah.
And it's a credit to Halifax
no
defense
good.
too, yeah.
Yeah, and meanwhile, we got Halifax shooting 50% from three-point range.
Yeah, hard to compete with that. And they're in their zone again.
Here's White, Billy White. Wow.
There's not much else to say.
Yeah, that's
you
it.
know, when now you got your 5 guy coming out, popping and getting in the action.
States working against White. Jaheed Carson, Al Stewart, he's wide open, needs that one, gets that one. 79-60, 240 now.
And you don't see him shooting threes very often, but he's got a nice stroke on him, and I wonder why he doesn't shoot the ball more. He's just so unselfish. This zone has to produce right here.
19-point lead for Halifax. And Mason gets charged with the charge.
No. Brad States, that's a block and foul.
A block and foul on Brad States. And wow, okay.
And you know what it was? When you see the replay, watch this. Brad's going to anticipate the
he
contact.
Was moving.
Yeah.
His feet were moving, yeah.
He's moving, and then as soon as the contact happens, he falls back. And the refs know it's like they're not going to get that call. But sometimes that'll work, but not in playoffs, not now.
Mason on the line.
But you know, credit, because you gotta try those things. He put himself in position to take that, and that's what the Storm need. All 5 guys working a little bit extra harder to get back in this game.
Antoine Mason. He has 18 points in this game, 7 of 12 from the field.
Oh boys, he's doing it, dribbling.
It's Al Stewart. Ball knocked out of his hands. No. They're gonna say it's Halifax ball. So things really coming off the rails here for the Storm.
That's hard. I'm not sure who that went off. It was so fast. It's basically 2 players doing the same move.
Billy
back
White. Double team, works his way out of that. Dixon with a fake on Allison. Back to Clink Scales. He's gonna try for 3, and he knocks it down hard. Clink Scales. And this Halifax team at the moment, they can't do anything wrong.
No, and that's because Billy White made this beautiful skip pass. You skip past the ball against the zone, it's going to fall apart pretty soon. They need to get out of this zone quickly. Just, you know, get these guys playing man-to-man and gut check time to the end of the game here.
Allison with the deuce as he worked against Billy White. It's now a 20-point lead, 82-62 in favor of the Hurricanes. Wonder if they watched a little bit of that Cleveland-Boston game last night.
Oh, they step out of bounds. That's a lucky break. And this, you know, Mike Leslie in the end of that second quarter, I don't know if you remember you saying, Peter, that between the first and second, he gave Billy White an extended period of rest.
Right.
Way more rest than he normally gets. And I think it's paid off. It really, he knows that he's the third quarter guy, and wow, has he ever been good.
Shad Wack, his shot's no good. Mason, he'll push it. Ball stripped away from him by Richter. Storm on the run. Al Stewart, that's a nice athletic move by the crafty veteran Al Stewart.
Yeah, and he knows he's got to put his team on his back, or he's the captain. He's going to say, come on, let's go.
35 seconds remaining now in the third quarter.
You need a stop and a score, and that's all you can do here to forget about this third quarter.
Clink Scales, and trying to get it down low for Billy White, but he slipped.
And there's your stop, and now you got one shot. Shot clock's turned off. Do not give Halifax the ball, because it'll probably be a 5-point play if you do. You know, it's just they're playing that well. There's no such thing, but you know, it's like that's how the game's going for the Storm. So make sure you use all the shot clock, try to get to the foul line, and away you go.
Billy White comes out of the game. He did not want to come out of the game. He was a little upset with Coach Leslie. But I mean, hey, listen, you don't want him to get into foul trouble.
It was a good sub by Mike Leslie. So you're 9 seconds on the shot there. Finish, yes.
And a foul on Allison.
But it's still too early. So, you know, there's 6 seconds left on the shot clock. It's a little, you probably want that to happen with 2 seconds left on the shot clock. It's only little things, but it makes a difference at the pro levels.
Mike Allison makes the first of 2. He now has 3 points in this game. Former University of Maine Black Bear. And he misses the second one.
Let's get back. Fastest guy on the floor with the ball here.
Long shot by Mason. Oh, he hits it from way downtown. That was out by the bridge. Wow, what a shot there by Antoine Mason to end this third quarter. And it's now a 20-point lead for Halifax. So the Island Storm, they've got their work cut out for them. We're going to take a break right now. We'll come back with fourth quarter action. Game number 4 of the Atlantic Division Finals right here on 5TV1.
Oh, you know it, man.
With ultra-stunning 4K picture quality.
I love using Restart.
I use that all the time.
We love having Crave TV and Netflix right on it.
And having all my TVs set up wirelessly, it's amazing.
Can you imagine some people still don't have 5 TVs?
I don't have it.
Because I was living abroad.
With so many reasons to love 5TV, it's time to make the switch to the best TV service.
Oh, sorry.
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 Sorry. Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry. Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Watson trying to back down Richter. Watson. Welcome back, everybody. It is 85-65. Hurricanes lead here in Game 4 of the Atlantic Division Final. Time now for the Alsco Kiss Off the Glass as we feature Al Stewart. And here it is.
Yeah, do you see the way he leaves 1-2 finish, brings the ball around, up and under. The defender cannot block the shot. And the ball's still spinning when it hits the backboard. That's how you earn the Alsco Kiss Off the Glass. Woo, sweet.
Al Stewart with 11 points. He's got 3 boards, 3 dimes, 5 of 6 from the field, but Antoine Mason is the man leading Halifax. He's having a big night. He's leading all scorers in this contest. 21 points, 8 of 13 from the field, 2 of 5 from three-point range. And he's got 5 boards, 4 assists.
And Al Stewart's still talking to the ref about that ball going out of bounds. And listen, to end the quarters, we were talking about it. They needed a stop, a score, and then that was it. And we said, don't give the ball back. They shot with 6 seconds on the shot clock, and that makes coaches' temperatures boil, and you see why Mason comes down and hits a 40-footer with, now they got momentum in the fourth.
85-65 lead, fourth quarter. Halifax trying to tie up this best-of-7 Atlantic Division Final at 2. Mason. His pass picked off by Akeem Ellis. And Akeem goes down hard on the floor.
The thing is they've got time. The Storm have time to get back in this basketball game. And you'll see it's just a weird pass.
Trying to force something that wasn't there.
Yeah, I think he
Antoine
thought that
Mason,
player
yeah.
was going to cut, and it just didn't do it.
Great crowd on hand here tonight in Charlottetown for Game 4. Game 5 is Monday afternoon in Halifax. Here's Ellis. Ellis, he gets the hoop of the arm.
Yeah, and he's the emotional bunny. He's got to get this team going, get this place popping, and he can do it.
Keem Ellis with just 4 points on the evening, and that's not going to help the Island Storm. He needs to be a little bit more productive here in the fourth quarter.
Well, I think Halifax did a good job of scouting him and figuring out what he does. Get out on him, force him left, like that type of thing there. So they've done a good job with him during this playoff series.
Cox is into the game. He has the ball there, and a foul away from the play against the Storm.
And Mason Rashad Wack going at it pretty good.
Right now, Halifax, they're shooting 55.3% from the field. They're 31 of 56. Storm, 38.9%, 23 of 59 from the field.
Yeah, and this is what you want for Halifax. Get to the line. What a nice take by Cox. Just a baseline rip. Okay, and what players do when they catch in the post, they'll square up if they have enough room. They'll baseline rip it, get all that momentum, put the ball on the floor once. Hard to stop. If you're going to defend that, they fake that and go in the middle. So Cox did a good job of doing the first one.
Cox hasn't had too many minutes in this game. Played a little bit more in game number 3.
Yeah, he started. See, that was, he's still short.
Yeah. Ellis down low. And that's going to be Halifax ball, a foul, a little bit of a push.
Yeah, and it's just the same thing we were talking about with Richter. If you put together and you were able to watch all his shots, it's right there. He's one of the best shooters I've seen. It's just he had better lower body action, and then it gets to the top and just doesn't finish all the way up through the top of that shot.
Talked about Akeem Ellis not having a great night. Al Richter, 0 for 5 from the field, 0 for 4 from three-point range. He's just got 2 points.
Yeah, he'll figure it out.
Here's Poole.
The refs trying to keep control of this game. That's what you're seeing. That's why you're seeing a lot of fouls, because it has gotten physical this fourth quarter. Usually when the lead expands to 20 points, guys get a little chippy and that's what you see. So they're trying to get control of that.
A.J. Stewart with a fake goes into the paint, and Cox, he will be assessed the foul. And A.J. Stewart hobbling a little bit. Of course, he had that foot injury earlier on in the season, missed some time down the stretch, so hopefully that's not a reoccurrence of that injury. Wack is going to come out, and Jaheed Carson will check back in here. 10:31 remaining in the fourth quarter.
There's been 7 foul called already in a minute and a half, so it's hard to watch, kind of like when it gets foul like that. But the refs need to keep control of these basketball games. A 4-point lead at halftime, and now you're looking at 19. So the Storm's really, the third quarter was not the greatest.
Yeah, they didn't come out with the type of intensity that they needed, and Halifax took advantage of them.
Yeah, cut the pressure on, take early shots, and then Halifax just translated into fast breaks, and that's what they do very well. Much different team today. They look, oh my goodness.
There's the hoop and a harm for Bowen. And everything is working for Halifax.
What an athlete. Look at this. Loses the ball and just touches it again. That's by design. That's skill just to get one finger on the ball. Unbelievable.
As I mentioned, Aaron Bowen played for the Hoyas. Played a little bit in the D League for Erie.
Wow, that was really impressive.
So Ellis is going to check out. Baines comes back in. Al Stewart off the iron. Joey Haywood, two-time NBL Canada Canadian of the Year, former St. Mary's Husky.
Yeah, very good player and really found a home
nice
here.
Spin move there by Bowen. And there's another example of that deep Halifax bench.
And that's what happens when your confidence grows. You see how smooth he is with his dribbling? He can get the ball. He can move about 7 or 8 feet with one dribble. He can spin, go both ways. I mean, very, very talented. There's so much talent in this league. It's unbelievable, really, when you think about what these kids are doing.
So 89-68 lead for the Hurricanes. What's the mindset of Halifax here? I mean, they got a nice, comfortable lead.
Yeah, just keep working on your stuff. Don't let up. Show you want to. If you're Halifax, you're trying to show the Storm that they don't have a chance when they go back for the next game. And if you're the Storm, you keep fighting and digging. Try to make this 9 minutes last, you know, as long as the Donald Trump press conference. Really long.
I don't think we've mentioned that gentleman's name in any of our broadcasts this year. I hope that didn't jinx any of our future broadcasts by mentioning that gentleman's name. I don't like mentioning his name, by the way, but I'll just leave it at that.
So this is what you want to do is you want them to expand that and make sure that the whistle blows, you're taking a long time, and then all you need is like 3 or 4 baskets in a row, which is easier said than done against such a great team.
Again, the distinction between, you know, youth sport basketball and this type of basketball. Hold on a second now. We got some pushing and shoving, and Bowen.
No, Terry.
Gave Terry Thomas a little smack to the face, and now Terry Thomas is feeling frustrated. He wants to get at Bowen.
Good job refereeing here.
Yeah, Joe Salerno's got to get Terry Thomas out of this game here. Let him cool down. And A.J. Stewart trying to settle him down, and Terry Thomas saying, okay, I'm good, I'm good. And let's see what happened here. They got tied up, Bowen. And he hit him in the side of the face. And there you see Terry Thomas just lost it.
Yeah.
And let's just hope that everybody cools down here with 9:29 remaining in regulation. And now Poole, he's getting his 2 cents in there. Jahi Carson is upset. And now this one is almost going off the rails.
And this is what we talked about before. This is what happens when it's a 20-point game. This is an intense game, and it got chippy. The refs were doing a great job trying to get control of this game. But did Bowen extend that hand out to Terry Thomas? And if so, that's not a great thing to do. It's something the league will have to watch. And
so a technical was assessed for Terry Thomas, and Terry's getting really frustrated here as Joe Salerno talking to the referee, having an animated conversation, and Joe's not buying what the referee's selling.
yeah, and they got tangled up, but listen, tangle ups don't just happen just like that. You know, so it's been physical here for the last 15 minutes or so, and you can feel it in the building, and that's going to happen. But you got to keep cool, and you got to go back and keep playing.
And, you know, just when it seemed like everybody was going to be, you know, cool and calm and collected, Poole comes in there, and he stokes the fires again. Here's Jahi Carson downtown. That rolled out. A.J. Stewart gets the rebound. That's a tough shot off the glass. So 19-16 left. It's a 20-point lead, 90-70 in favor of Halifax. Let's see if that little altercation sparks.
Physicality.
Yeah,
it's
sparks
coming.
the
You're
storm
going to
a
start
little
to see it again. And
there's Terry Thomas on top of Poole. And a foul against Jahi Carson.
yeah, all the players are into it, and just stay cool. Just stick with your team. Whenever anything happens like that, just go back and be around your team. And the emotions are really flying. You can really feel it. This is NBL playoff action. Both these teams want this very badly. This Halifax team wants to come back and celebrate in the Metro Center, and the Silent Storm team wants this game pretty badly, and it just didn't. The third quarter didn't go the way they planned it to. So we're getting 3 shots here.
So 93-70. Hurricane in firm control of this game. There's a shot by Terry Thomas, and that's we've seen a lot of that, Gord. They've just been unable to hit it from the field or 3-point range in this one. They haven't been consistent.
No, plus it's one pass. Oh, it's a little back elbow, but it's one pass. So when you pass the ball once and shoot it, okay, people aren't ready to rebound. They're still setting their screens. They're not paying attention to what you're doing. Look at the defense.
Wow, they really locked down Joey Haywood, and he wanted a call.
Yeah, and I mean, he tried everything to beat Terry Thomas there. He's good, but Terry's still on that emotional high from getting in a little altercation, so your legs work a little bit extra fast.
There's Jahi Carson. He moves in, lays it off the glass for 2.
But it really fired the Storm up. You can tell in their movement and stuff, they haven't been playing this intense for about the last hour or so. So we just made a little mistake on.
A little miscue on defense. Billy White can't convert. They hang on to the ball. Mason. Oh, nice play by Antoine Mason. He's been just unbelievable here in this game. That's 26 points, I believe, for Antoine Mason. Jahi Carson loses it, gets it back again. Good recovery by Jahi.
Yeah, it really was, and it's just sticking with the play. But you can't trade baskets anymore. You need a series of stops.
Crowd wants some defense here. There's Billy White. And got the ball knocked out of his hands.
Great help by Terry Thomas. Didn't get the shot. See, but he didn't want to shoot the. He's a smart bastard. Doesn't want to shoot the one pass shot, so they can get something better, and that's it.
There it is, right there. Yeah, Terrell Baines.
So you just keep pounding away. You keep driving, passing to your post, but every shot from here on in needs to be about 3 or 4 feet from the basket.
95-76. Had one stop there on Billy White. Can they get another one here? Poole misses that one. And now Al Stewart takes it back the other way. Al Stewart gets it in.
Starting to make a little run. Like I said, attack the basket. You got 6 minutes left to go. Every time you get the ball back, you just keep going and going and going.
Clink Scales is going to check back in for Halifax. Bowen will in a second. There's Mason trying to get a step on Terry Thomas. Mason, oh, that's a tough shot. Oh my goodness, get out of town. Mamma mia. Are you kidding me? He was fading away, still knocked it down, and he was deep with that shot too. And Terry Thomas, speaking of knocking it down, Terry Thomas is on the floor. He's not 100%. And look, take a look at this shot.
Nothing to do.
Terry Thomas giving him no room. It wasn't really, well, it was a deep shot. It was on the border there of being a three-pointer, but, and there you see Antoine Mason, little trash talk towards the bench.
I hope his dad saw that. He could have given him some pointers on how to shoot the 19-foot fadeaway. Wow.
Just when you thought that the Storm were going to try to get a run there, I mean, that's really demoralizing, a shot like that. I mean, great defense. I mean, he put up a wing and a prayer, and the prayer was answered.
And his game has just been unbelievable. He's got Antoine Mason's got 28 points, 10 for 15 from the field. So, I mean, those are some serious, serious numbers.
Billy White has come on. He's got 19 points. Ronaldo Dixon, 17 points, 5 of 5 from three-point range. Ronaldo Dixon, he has not missed from three-point land. Okay, folks, we're going to step out for a bit here. It's a 97-78 lead. Halifax leading the Island Storm. Back with more here in Charlottetown right after these commercial messages.
My soccer ball. Well, the air inside, it has superpowers. There are tons of little teachers inside that help me learn about things like collaboration and perseverance. With each kick, those powers get a little stronger. I think it's made out of polyurethane, though.
Give them the chance to discover what their equipment is made of. Give them the chance to play. Visit sportnovascotia.ca to find out how you can help.
Did you know falls are the #1 reason children in Atlantic Canada are hospitalized? Help make your home safer for kids of all ages by using or installing a window stop. Screens are not enough to prevent falls. Protect small children by using a screw-mounted gate at the top of the stairs. Be careful not to trip over your pets and keep clutter and toys off of the stairs and floors.
We can all help our home be a safer place.
Basketball on 5TV1 is presented to you by Shamrock Trust, a proud partner of the Island Storm with locations in Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Newfoundland. Peter Rutgazer alongside Gord McNeely and the entire 5TV1 crew. And the Halifax Hurricanes are 552 from tying up this series at 2 games apiece in the Atlantic Division Final. And Antoine Mason, what an evening he's had. And, you know, they rectified some problems in their game Halifax did on that day off, and they've come out here and they look like the Halifax team that we've seen all season long.
Yeah, and like I said, this is a kind of a scary game when you're up 2-1 and you're playing at home. And I talked about that before the broadcast, and it's that uncomfortable where you kind of lose that kind of killer instinct a little bit. And you just kind of say, hey, you know what, we're going to ease into this. And it takes over the team a little bit. And this is actually not a bad thing for the Storm. I think they're going to regroup, gather, and go to Halifax and really play the best game of the season coming up this next game. This is everything you could ask for in this series. This is get out. If you're watching from Halifax, get out, get your friends, get to that center, because this next game is going to be on fire.
Score from the final in the Central Division. It's now currently at the break, I believe. It's 43-30 for London over Windsor. And London trying to sweep that series against Windsor.
Yeah, and Baines just got poked in the eye, or poked in the head there on that rebound. But they're going to shoot foul shots for the rest of the quarter. So this is a kind of an opportunity for the Storm. I think there's not enough time left. Watch the head; he gets poked right there. Great camera work, and he's just got the stank face, like what? But they're in bonus for the rest of the way. So every foul gets them to the line. So this is actually an opportunity for the Storm.
And the clock stops. And
exactly. So you got to become ultra aggressive. And for Halifax, you can't even be seen to be fouling here, or else you could be telling your own faith here. So here comes some pressure.
Press here from the Storm, and a foul by Baines.
And I don't think that's how they diagrammed the press break in practice, because that didn't look that great. So that'll give the Storm some confidence right there. But good time to press and start to get a little bit aggressive. You got nothing to lose.
Bowen at the line.
His foul shooting is very inconsistent. Short, front rim, left, right, back rim. I'll just say to the guy, just bend a little bit lower, and yeah, you see it's short, front. It's all over the place. So just can get that a little bit more consistent. Bring that ball in a little bit closer in that pocket.
So Bowen misses both of them. 5:16 left now. States couldn't get that loose ball. They're going to say it is Storm ball. And now a timeout called by Joe Salerno. He'll want to discuss strategy here. 97-81 in favor of Halifax here at game number 4.
And that's good strategy, what you just saw from Al Stewart. Now's the time we talked about before in the third quarter when they were coming up one pass shot. Now is the time to one pass shot it. Now's the time to no pass shot it. Just keep attacking and putting pressure.
Mason, a little step on
that Halifax defense. So you don't have time to do that stuff anymore. So for Halifax, don't fall asleep here. You're 2 or 3 baskets away from getting on that bus, but you're not there yet. So make sure you play right to the end. I just go back to Mason and just keep using his physicality, because he's had a fantastic game.
This Halifax team, they look a lot fresher too. They did not go back to Halifax after game number 3. They stayed here for a day, had a nice practice, and they look like the juggernaut that they were during the regular season when they ran away with the Atlantic Division.
Yeah, and that was a good move. I know the Storm, when they were over there, they came back in between games. It's just it's a good decision. Like both teams are doing strategic moves like that. So, I mean, listen, 5 minutes and 12 seconds left to go. It's a 16-point game, and is it probable? Probably not. But because Halifax is so good, but they have looked a little bit like they've fallen asleep the last 2 or 3 minutes after that altercation. So, I mean, there's a chance here, but Halifax needs to buckle down, get to Billy White, and go from there.
States, Baines, he tried to get it to Al Stewart. It bounces off a Halifax player. 9 on the shot clock. Jahid Carson, and he misses that one completely. Right now, Halifax, they're shooting 53.9% from the field, 34-63. From three-point land, 52.1%. They have just knocked the tar out of the ball from three-point land.
Well, that's a travel. They're taking time off the clock, so.
Here's Bowen. Clink Scales.
That's the guy you want to have it.
Oh, there we go. The alley and the oop as Clink Scales and Billy White team up once again. They've done that 2 or 3 times in tonight's contest. There's Terrell Baines out of control. Now Wack has it. Over here for Baines in the corner, and Terrell Baines.
The pressure. You can't go back, can't go falling asleep. You got to put pressure on so you can get a steal in the backcourt right here.
Terrell Baines making that shot from the corner.
And that's a set play that they run when they get Billy White on the opposite weak side block, and he does it very well. He comes up like almost to the foul line area, fakes, and then goes back door. And I mean, the guy has been doing that his whole career, and that's what happens. He'll dunk right on you. Like I said, what does Halifax do to the end of the game? Just get it to Billy White, and then just that's it. No diagrams, nothing.
Billy White had 20 points, 13 boards, 5 dimes in game number 3. And so far tonight, he's got 21 points, make that 22, just hit that free throw, and 13 boards. And he hits another one, so.
And he doesn't force anything, Peter. It's just a smooth team playing game.
Here's States trying to hit a 3, no good. White Skies gets the rebound. And Scales, he'll just slow it down here. Ten on the shot clock. There's Billy White, Scales, Dixon, and turn the ball over. Clock was down to 2. Dixon tried to make a pass. Here's Jaheed Carson. Jaheed Carson with the tray.
And that's their third 3 of the game.
Yeah.
3 for 23.
They have just not hit the ball from downtown.
And that's what it is. The Storm are a shooting team, and it was a bad shooting night. And Halifax took great advantage of that. So there's a lot of life in both these teams. Exact 2-2. I mean, they both won games in the opposing people's areas. So, I mean, geez, this game, I don't know, it's best of 3 now. You win 2 games, and you win this Atlantic Division NBL.
Side for States. Hook shot no good. White with the rebound, then tried to pass the Clink Scales, turned it over. There's States, stays with the process. Out for Al Stewart. Jaheed Carson, that's a long 3. Jaheed misses that one, and now Clink Scales has it. Gets to Mason, who's been the star of this game.
He really has.
28 points on the night. 2:24 remaining in this 4th quarter. Clink Scales, his 3-pointer short. Here's Al Stewart. He'll try it from downtown, no good. So, as you said, Gordon, not a very good shooting night for the Storm.
No, it's one you forget about. I mean, you go home, you regroup, you have a quick team meeting, and then you just get back in the gym and shoot the ball. Just put shots up tomorrow. Work on a couple little things defensively, but you're right where you want to be in the series. I mean, Halifax is a good team. You knew this was coming.
I mean, this Storm team, they didn't have a lot of success against Halifax all season long. A lot of the losses they suffered against Halifax were very close games. So, I mean, hey, listen, going into this series, if you said you're going to be tied 2-2 after 4 games, if you're the Island Storm, you're taking that.
What a follow-up jam by Mr. Bone, who's had a good night here too tonight.
Yeah, not too many players wearing blue have had very tough evenings here. Take a look at this.
Oh,
that's the pass there, Baines.
Oh,
he tried to get it to Al Stewart.
And here's the dunk off that. Look at that, legs flaring, spinning. I mean, that's an athlete. Good vertical jump.
Billy White and Clink Scales teaming up. They've done that a number of times. Yeah, so the fans here, their team is down, but they're making some noise as the Halifax Hurricanes up 105-86. I mean, you take a look at this whole Halifax roster, nobody's really had a bad night for them.
No, they played well collectively. From that first play of the first game, we talked about it here and we said, listen, geez, they're extending their defense. They're not giving the Storm much. It took the Storm out of the rhythm, and it was hard for them to get back into it. Terry Thomas kept them in it early, Jaheed Carson, but really all 5 guys have to come ready to play in Halifax for this, or starters, and then all 5 guys from the bench, because they didn't get the collective effort today.
So Robert Nortman is going to come into the game. 125 remaining. And you see the former Dalhousie Tiger. Been a very useful role player this season for Coach Salerno. Here's Whack.
And Halifax did a great job of rebounding the ball on a lot of Storm 3-pointers.
Rebounding situation 47-41 in favor of Halifax.
So 1 minute left here.
Under a minute, Clink Scales, Dixon. Dixon, he got, oh, the shot clock ran out there. I thought there was a foul.
He traveled there.
Traveled there, okay.
Yeah, he was working on some Michael Jackson moves.
There's Richter, and I tell you, Al Richter is going to put this game way deep in the rearview mirror once 41 seconds is over here.
Oh, yeah. They've got the basketball players have short memories. They're going to come back. They're going to watch this game, and they're going to see places that they can. There's that play that.
Yeah, it's trying to for that alley-oop play again. There's Clink Scales as the shot clock runs out. 22.5 seconds now remaining in the fourth.
This crowd stayed into it. Good for this this PI crowd. Congratulations to this Halifax team. Big win for this program. It's going to be exciting in Halifax. I know Peter and I will be watching that game and love watching the games from Halifax. But get out there and support this Halifax team because they deserve it. Very, very good. A lot of talent on this team.
As I said, there's a long-range shot by Al Stewart. As I said, if you predicted it would be 2-2 after 4 games, and if you're a fan of the Storm, you're going to take that every single day of the week and 3 times on Sunday. Here's Richter. Al Stewart. And that's going to do it, as the Halifax Hurricanes did not play very well in Game 3. Had a day off, they regrouped, and they've come up with a real impressive victory, 105-90 over the Island Storm. If you're the Storm, what do you want to work on the day off?
You got to trust your coach. You got to listen to your coach, and he'll make the adjustments. You just need to execute. And everybody needs to stick together and communicate. They ran into communication woes again tonight.
So there you have it, the final score. Halifax Hurricanes with a 105-90 victory over the Island Storm. This Atlantic Division final now tied up at 2 games apiece. Game number 5 in the series goes Monday in Halifax. So on behalf of Gord McNeely and the 5TV1 crew that did an amazing job here this evening in Charlottetown, I'm Peter Ruckhazer saying good night.